We have heard how centering prayer is similar to or rooted in the prayer of the cloud. Are there differences in the way contemplative outreach teaches centering prayer from the cloud's teaching? Do you recommend presenting centering prayer at an introductory workshop with the cloud as a primary text? No, not unless you're Father William Meninger. Father William Meninger has read the cloud about 150 times. He has a complete mastery of it, and he can do it. I doubt if too many other people can do it. And the whole point of our introductory workshop is to make it as easy and accessible as possible. Now, any document that comes out of the 13th or 14th century has to be adapted in some degree. The words no longer mean the same thing, and so on. But we say that the cloud is our primary source because it's an excellent presentation of the tradition. That is, cataphatic leading to apophatic prayer, if you must use those dreadful terms. Now, there are a few differences that I must acknowledge about the cloud. I haven't felt, that I had to present the cloud at 100% step by step. First, one place I disagree ever so slightly with the cloud, again, it's a trifling thing, is the cloud seems to suggest some vigorous efforts to get rid of the thoughts that go by. You look over the shoulder of the thoughts, for instance, that's one suggestion. But there are words that suggest effort in getting rid of distractions. And the biggest effort of all is getting down on the ground, as Father William recommends, and saying, I give up. Well, I think you can give up before getting down on the ground and prostrating. It's too much work. We suggest simply just letting all the thoughts go by, paying no attention to them, and putting up with them, and even welcoming them as a fact of life, and then disregarding them. So I have been inspired somewhat by the teaching of St. Francis de Sales here, who suggests great gentleness. Father Cassad in some of his books does the same, so does the Venerable Lieberman, so does St. Jane Chantel, so does the great recent pundit, Catholic pundit, Damjan Chapman. In other words, the idea of gentleness, ever so gently returning to the sacred word, is a slight difference or a slight emphasis from the cloud in regard to handling thoughts that you don't want. And I think it's an improvement. I don't think there's any classic that can't be improved. And so I think we can overdo this business of glorifying the tradition. I think some of the tradition is lousy. or it's not suitable. But that doesn't mean that most of it isn't excellent. So you have to bring a critical judgment to. And I think all of the traditional works have to be brought into dialogue with modern psychological developments, especially developmental psychology. And this is what we have presumed to do in centering prayer, to try to make it as simple, as direct, and as practical, as effective as possible in leading people into the experience of praying in interior silence beyond depending on thoughts, feelings, impressions to go to God.